Yo, book nerds, happy World Theater Day. I absolutely love going to the theater and I love seeing plays. In honor of World Theater Day, I decided that I was going to share with you guys my top 5 favorite plays that I've read. I honestly haven't read a whole ton of plays. I have gone to the theater so many times to see various plays, but actually reading them, I only have a handful on my shelves. But honestly, in my opinion, that's kind of the way it should be. Plays are meant to be experienced and watched. They're meant to be performed. And so I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that I don't have many on my shelves. I do want to continue reading plays though in the future. But that being said, my top 5 plays that I have read only include 3 authors because again, I haven't read a big variety of plays. And of these 5 plays, I've actually only seen one of them performed. I want to see all of them performed, but I've only so far gotten to see one of them. So let's kick it off. So we'll start with number 5 and work our way to number 1. Strata by Aristophanes, or Strata. I've heard it pronounced both ways. I have not seen this performed, but I would love to. This is an ancient Greek play, and it's hilarious. It's basically a battle of the sexes. So war is going on, and the men are off fighting, and the women are tired of it. They are tired of it, and they want it to be done. So the women band together and decide that until the war is done, we will not have sex with the men. And this really upsets the men. And it is hilarious and it is inappropriate at times, but it is just a hilarious story. And I highly recommend reading it if you haven't. It's a pretty short play, so wouldn't take you too long. And yeah, I would just love to go see this performed sometime. I need it to be offered in my area. I have never heard of this being performed anywhere near where I live, so I keep my eyes out and I will hopefully someday get to see it performed. Book number 4 on my list, author number 2, would be As You Like It by William Shakespeare. I love this play. I do. It's a work of genius. And I feel like a lot of people haven't even heard of this one. Of all of Shakespeare's plays, this one seems to be not one of his more popular ones. This is the play that I have seen performed, and I really enjoyed it. This is basically a love story. It's a comedy. I don't want to spoil too much, so I'm really not going to give you guys a whole lot of the plot. But the reason that this is on my favorites list is because I just think Shakespeare is a genius. One of his characters, named Rosalind, is a woman, and during the play, she pretends to be a man. And then later on, that man that she's pretending to be has to pretend to be a woman. So you have a woman pretending to be a man, pretending to be a woman, which I think is hilarious. But then add in the fact that when Shakespeare wrote this, women were not part of theater. Men acted all the parts. So back when this was written, you'd have a male actor playing a woman, playing a man, playing a woman. And I just think it is so funny. So that is why this is on my top 5, because I just think Shakespeare is a genius. I know that that's kind of cliche to say, but he honestly was. He's a genius. And for number 3, we're going to continue with William Shakespeare. Hamlet, of course, has to be on here. Hamlet is a work of genius as well. This is a tragedy, and I, again, won't give too much away, but I think a lot of people are more familiar with Hamlet and what this story is about. One of the many reasons that I love Hamlet so much is the fact that there is a play within a play. Again, just another work of genius. Like, who thinks of that? But yeah, Hamlet is just so complex. He's such a complex character. People think he's crazy when he's really not. But again, he might be a little crazy. Like, there's just so many layers to this story. I have yet to have an opportunity to see Hamlet performed. Moving on to my second favorite play that I have read, this would be Tom Stoppard's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. If you've never read or seen Hamlet, this may not make a whole lot of sense to you because it's based off of Hamlet. And I think Tom Stoppard is a genius, and I would love to see this performed. There is a movie, and I've seen parts of the movie, but I've never actually watched the entire movie. But the parts that I've seen are hilarious. This play is an absurdist play, and it's honestly so hard to explain what this play is even about. But it's about Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, who are characters in Hamlet. And basically, the best way I can describe it is this play is about what they are doing when they are not present in Hamlet. And it's just like they're in limbo. It is an absurdist play. It doesn't make sense. And it's really funny. I can't recommend it enough. I hope I can see this someday. And then my number one play of all time that I have read is, again, by Tom Stoppard, because I think the man is just a genius. And that would be The Invention of Love. I think that this is one of the best works of literature that I've ever read, not just the best play that I've ever read. It is just so wonderful, and there's so many layers to it. It's honestly like Tom Stoppard was just showing off when he wrote this. I don't know how he does it. I can't even really explain what this is either, because you have to do a lot of background reading in order to understand this play. And because of that fact, this play is almost never performed. I don't know if I will ever get to see it performed ever in my lifetime, because nobody wants to put it on, because so few people have done the reading necessary to understand the play. But I think it's a beautiful play, and I would love to share that with you guys. So someday in the future, I do plan to do a video about this play in particular and all the reading that you should do before reading it or seeing it so that it makes sense to you. I actually first read this in college. We had an entire class devoted to studying this text. We read all of the material beforehand, and then we read this at the end of the class. And it was one of my favorite classes in undergrad. I loved it so much. And I just can't rave about Tom Stoppard and The Invention of Love enough, because it is a work of genius. And it's so short, but the amount of background reading you have to do to understand it is kind of insane. But it's wonderful. It's worth it. It is so wonderful. So watch for a future video someday about this play in particular. So those are the top 5 plays that I have read. Again, is only 3 authors because I haven't read a super ton amount of plays, because I prefer to go to the theater and see them performed, which I think is the best way to experience them anyway. Someday in the future, maybe I will make a video on the best plays that I have seen. That would be really hard to narrow it down because I've seen so many. But maybe someday I will do that. Drop down in the comments and let me know if you've read any of these plays, what you thought of them. Let me know your favorite plays that you've read. I hope you guys are having a wonderful World Theater Day. Maybe go celebrate by seeing a play if there's something going on near you. The last play that I went to was To Kill a Mockingbird, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. It had me laughing. It had me almost in tears. It was beautifully performed. But I think I've talked enough today, so I will see you guys next Monday. Hit like and subscribe. Thanks for talking books with me.